Hello. Have you ever complained about someone very less talented than you getting more salary and more frequent promotion than you? Even if you are a hard worker, you are a multitasker, but still you get less salary, you don't get the respect that you deserve. If that's you, I'm going to talk about a strategy which will change your life and which will give you even more and stable future than the guy who has been getting the promotion. So what is that? Um, if you are one of those guys who is intelligent, who knows how to multitask, who has been reading a lot or trying to gain a lot of knowledge, then you definitely must have thought about being a landlord or investing into real estate. There could be few things which is stopping you, that it comes with a lot of challenges, it comes with a lot of problems, or you have to deal with unknown people, and that's pulling you from getting into real estate investment. And I totally understand. I was like that until I got into real estate. So let's just spend 10 to 15 minutes of your time today. Go through this video. My email ID is on the screen. I won't be showing it again, so note it down. And anytime, contact me. I will help you out. I will explain you how this whole thing works. But in next 10 to 15 minutes, I am going to give you a little bit of glimpse of why you should invest, what it is like to be in investing in real estate or being a landlord, and what kind of problems that you face, which this kind of investment will help you to win over those problems. So some of the major problem that people who work 9 to 5 they face are on the screen. It is the financial stress and lack of passive income. So a lot of you must be must have thought about, hey, I don't have any other income. Like it any month, if I have to spend little extra, then either you have to take it out from your saving or you have to wait for your salary next month. The next problem that a lot of working professionals face is job insecurity and lack of control. So like if my boss comes to know about it, or if I go for a long vacation, if something happens in my family and I have to go out of country, I'll be losing my job, I won't be able to come back. Or if I say something bad to my boss, I may get fired. So you always live in that kind of insecurity, you are always scared. So that problem can be solved with real estate. Third one is inflation and rising cost of living. Your just look at some any item which is $100 this year. Next year it's definitely going to be 110 or 120. With the new president and new tariffs, it could even be 125, 130, right? How much does your salary increase? 103, 104 maybe? So in that case, how will you cover the difference? You need a passive income. You need something which grows with the market, which is kind of inflation free, and or rather you can say the price inflates with the market. So that's where real estate comes into picture. Now, becoming a landlord might seem very difficult, but in real life it's not that bad. I have been helping people, and right now means I have helped tens of people become first-time landlord, and I have been supporting them and guiding them over phone, and even sometimes I travel and I go to their um, rentals and help them out. So trust me, it sounds difficult, but once you get into it, the sweetness of getting that extra cash and making money while you sleep will be definitely worth it. So let's go and see how it's like to be a landlord, right? And what you need to do. Basically, what you need to do when you become a first time landlord. So, The first thing that we all know is acquiring a rental property. So the golden rule is location, location, location. Why do I say that? Maybe you are making a very good money, you are living in suburbs, you are living in a very good neighborhood. Is that a right place to buy your rental property? Maybe the rentals are high, but how many people want to live there? How many renters, how many tenants want to shift to your neighborhood? You need to think about it. If it is well um, connected with the major metro areas, or if it is between two metro areas, then that could be a good option. But normally you have to look at the population density, and what you will find is the areas that you thought might not be very good, they might be a good area for rental. I'm not telling you to get into the areas where you are not very comfortable, but there is always a sweet spot. So, one is your outskirts and suburbs where houses are costly, rents are high, but not a lot of traffic. And the other one is the core of the town where houses are cheap, a lot of traffic, but then you have all different kinds of people. If you have never dealt with all kind of people before, then might not be a good idea for you. So then find a spot where schools are still not that bad, communication and connectivity is good. It could be next to a highway, um, next to a freeway. I mean, and still far from a very dense population area, but not very far that people can't commute. So think about those kind of locations first, and then once you get experience, then you can go wherever you want. Uh, for that, you need to do research. So research the neighborhood thoroughly and potential. Consider the property's potential upside. So sometimes the cities expand, then the prices of these areas that I'm talking about, they increase. So if you buy a real estate, you will have very good equity. Let's go to the next one. The next item you need to think about is the rental registry. You need to think about the compliance issue. Like right now, I'm in Minnesota and we don't have that kind of a problem here. In some areas in St. Paul and in Minneapolis, they take it very strictly. But in some other cities which are outside of these main metro areas, there we get a little bit of flexibility. It's not that bad of an inspection, or the requirements to become a landlord is not very bad. So you need to first of all be compliant, follow the local regulations, and then register your rental. Make sure the inspection is properly done and your house is approved. So for that, you need to do some local registry laws. You need to research, and at the same time, you need to register your property promptly. So it could be possible that one side of the road falls into a city where the rental rules are very strict, and other side of that particular road, it falls into a city where rental rules are little bit flexible. So you have to look into that, think about it, and then make a decision. Let's go to the next one. Now you need to be budgeting like a pro. So if you buy a rental property, um, I personally don't recommend buying a new house or a newer house, and not very very old house. So find something in the middle where you may have to do a little bit of repairs, but not a lot. That is for a first time a landlord. That's what I would say. So, but be ready for any kind of unexpected costs. Sometimes you might be thinking that carpet is bad, you need to replace it, that will cost you $500. But the moment you take the carpet off, you find that there is a lot of mold, or maybe there was some old wood floor which is completely rotten and somebody just put a carpet on top of it. So those kind of things you need to be thinking about. Time to time, your tenants will call you for repairs, so that also you need to be considering. And then vacancy. Sometimes during some seasons, every state has different season. Uh, it's difficult to find a tenant. So, like I am in Minnesota, and from November to February, they have a moratorium where some of the apartments they cannot evict their tenants. At the same time, uh, tenants also don't want to move out from November to February. So in that case, if your house goes vacant in December, it might be difficult for you to find a tenant for 2 months. So you have to consider that, think about it, and keep that into your budget. Let's go to the next one. This is an important one, but you may not have to worry. So the landlord tenant laws, and this is where we come into picture. We have been doing it for so many years, and if you have any problem, you can just discuss with me, and I may be able to help you. So you first of all, you know your rights and responsibilities. Landlord tenant laws, they vary by location. So in my area too, Minneapolis has a little bit of a strict law. St. Paul has this 3% cap on the rental that you charge. But there are other cities which are only 5 minutes away and they don't have such laws. So, all those things you need to understand. You need to understand the legal responsibilities and your property rights. Like your tenant, you have to give 24-hour notice if you are going there for an inspection. But at the same time, there are few items which you cannot ask them to, like in some cases section 8 people you have to take them, or in some cases if it is a emotional support animal, then you cannot say no. So those kind of things that vary from city to city, state to state. So you need to look into the laws in your particular state. Okay, always keep that in mind. A funny story, one of my clients tenants said they have one pet, and we forgot to ask what kind of pet it is. And he said it's an emotional support animal, and we did not even ask for proof, or we did not even look at it. We just said, okay, go ahead, come live in the house. And one day when I went there for inspection, I find that the pet was not in its cage, and I had very little idea that that cage was a python cage. So apparently he had a python. I didn't find him. I just ran out because I kind of guessed what it is, and that's when I came to know that he was sleeping with a python, and that python was his emotional support animal. So, so that can happen. Okay, landlord insurance. So I hope if you are trying to become a landlord, you know a little bit about insurance. You must have your own house. But there are three major areas that you need to think about. One is liability, damage, and then coverage. So obviously, we all know that insurance has a coverage in it, but damages may differ in your from your primary house to your rental, because rental may be damaged a lot. Like sometimes if your tenant is not happy and they are leaving, and they may damage your property. So you have to see how your insurance covers the damage. And then liability. So sometimes liabilities in the sense, like in your own house, if you have a trampoline, or if you have a small outdoor swimming pool, you might not care about liability because that's your own trampoline. But if it is in your rental property, and if something happens, if somebody comes and falls, or somebody just jumps out of that trampoline and falls on somebody else's house, I know that doesn't happen. So you will be liable. So you need to make sure that you talk to your insurance agent, look at all the different kind of liabilities that you might have um, as a landlord, and get it added in your insurance. Or if you can't add it, then at least put that in your lease agreement. Okay, this is another item which I don't know who is watching from where, but if you are in Minnesota, I will help you uh, to do it yourself. But if you are in a different state, then I would recommend keeping a property manager. It's not very costly. Uh, it costs 90, $100 a month, but they will have all the headache. They will go to the property. If something bad happens, they will help you understand and evaluate the situation. But in case if uh, you don't like them, or if you feel like you can do it yourself, then you can always cancel the property management agreement and you can start doing it by yourself. But what you need to understand here is your time and expertise is important. So if you are a busy person and suddenly there is a problem in your rental, then how will you drive? How will you go? You need to account for that if you are doing it yourself. And then second is expertise. You don't even know what to talk, what to say. So you may need a little bit of guidance. So don't worry about the guidance part. That's why I'm here. You can just contact me and I will guide you through any situation that you may face. But time wise, if you are not in Minnesota, then definitely I might not be able to help. Okay, let's go to the next one. Getting your house moving ready. So sometimes we feel that in our personal home, we can live with little bit of problem, like some water leaking somewhere. So you just put a small bucket below the tap to make sure water gets accumulated in the bucket, and those kind of things. You do that in your own house, but you should not take any chances in your rental. If you see a minor crack, it's better you fill it. You never know how your tenant is uh, going to care about your property, right? So so like I said here, you need to get your house moving ready. First impression matters. So the moment you see the house, you try to use it by yourself for a day or two and make sure everything is up and running. Nothing is overheating and nothing, there is no plumbing issue or there is no other water issue. So make sure you clean it properly, make sure you repair all the items that you see, and at the same time make it nice and cozy, so whoever comes into the house, they have a good feeling. Remember, that really matters. Some landlords, they just do a cheap work. They just want to make sure the house is ready enough for tenants to move in, and those kind of landlords face a lot of problems in their life. But if you respect your house and if you make it nice and beautiful for your tenant, trust me, your tenant will also respect your house and they will respect you as a landlord. Let's go to the next one. Setting the right rent. Okay. There is no rule for it, but one thing that I can tell you is look at your property, look at the rental rates in that area, compare your property with the other rentals which are available, and then uh, rent it out. Setting a rent too high, that deters tenants. In some areas, like here, where um, it's very crowded, we sometimes try to put a higher rent because there are so many applications and you can get it, but in some areas it's not possible. So you have to understand that area, and then based on that you can set the rent. You can go to these websites um, and do a rental estimation, but that means nothing if your neighbor has rented it for higher price, then you will feel bad. And if you try to rent it at higher price and your house doesn't rent, then you will be losing money every month. So you have to look at the market, you have to do some analysis, and then you have to price your house. uh, I have a tool, and I can look at some history of the properties in the neighborhood and get you an idea. uh, I don't have to be in your state for that, but I can guide you how to get closer. And then at the same time, when prices are going up, you can always try to go up by a $50 or $100. That's not an issue, but be ready to reduce it as soon as you don't find a tenant within a reasonable time. Let's go to the next one. Huh. So this is a nice little uh, checklist that I have prepared, And then at the same time, I have my own checklist, which if you guys will contact me, I will share it with you. So right now, just look at the checklist. This is a checklist for success. So you consult your local resources for assistance. A lot of cities, they have um, some guidance or some program for landlords, and they have some landlord education which you can go and attend, and they will teach you a lot of rules and regulations of that city, and that way you will know how to behave and what to do. And you need to prioritize your legal compliance and tenant relations. With the right approach, you can thrive. So there are three items which I wanted to cover here. Is acquire a property in good location. We went through that, and there is no location is bad location, right? You just have to find a location which is appropriate for you. You want to be a landlord in a very high cost and high value neighborhood, or you want to be in those low cost, high traffic kind of area. That decision you have to make. You have to have a budget for repairs. So now, if you have $25,000, you can go for a house which needs a little bit of work. If you have only $5,000, then may have to look for a house which is almost move-in ready. So that is another decision you have to make, and then know the law. So, like in my case, if you are in St. Paul, you will have that 3% rent cap. You will have a lot of other things. You have to have dish report when you buy the property, and there are a lot of other tenant related laws. But if you are just 5 minutes out of St. Paul, then those rules changes. So in that case, you have to uh, know the law. You have to understand the local laws, or if not, then you have to talk to people like me who understands the law, or who can at least guide you where to find the information, right? So with all these, you will become a landlord, and then the next chapter comes where you have to deal with the tenant. And believe me, it's not that bad. If you feel like who will fix the plumbing and who will fix the electricity, how many times your plumbing go bad? Once, twice a year, three times a year? If something is giving you money for 12 months and it's asking you to work on the property for three times, I think it's a good deal, right? So, so believe me, if you take all these steps, become a landlord, you will never regret that the other guy who knew less than you is making more money than you, because that guy will always be scared. He will always be working for somebody else while you are building your own real estate empire, which you can transfer to your family, to your kids. If in case of some unforeseen circumstances, you will have a, a property which will give passive income to your family and to your kid, and you can be wherever you are, you will be very satisfied when you see that that's happening to your family. Okay, so with this, thank you. I know this video is a little longer than I thought, but I hope you understood and you gained some knowledge. If you have any question, you reach out to me. You click on my profile, you will find my website, my phone number, or my email ID was there at the first slide. So feel free to contact me. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day. Bye.